Welcome back to our show. This is our final show of the week. Gentlemen, thanks again for being here. Always appreciated. So we're going to run through this real quick. First question, your draft strategy summed up in one word.
I'd say, because I wouldn't say mine's.
Okay, well, that's about 7 words, so you're done. Gentlemen, one word or phrase to describe your fantasy picks, fantasy draft strategy. Gio.
Invest your later picks into potential sleepers or prospects.
Before I'll say it again, balance.
Don't draft the third best outfielder on a World Series team.
And pitchers. Secondly, if you had to give people one piece of advice to win a World Series, to win a title, which is basically the closest thing any of us in fantasy will get to a World Series, what would it be? And it does not have to do with your draft strategy necessarily. It could be anything, like anything at all. What is your ultimate piece of advice? I will start this one. My ultimate piece of advice, I'm going to kind of steal from Gio a little because we have the same idea when it comes to free agency. Do not underestimate free agency. The ad drops are key. You will always find great people there.
Start as many starters as you can on a Sunday.
You know what? I got to tip my hat to that one.
I love it. For the record, just so people understand this, it's a glitch. You are allowed to start 12 in ESPN leagues. You're allowed to start 12, except on the day when you have your 12th starter ready to go. You are allowed to start as many as you can, and they all count. So technically, you could start 11 starters throughout the week, and on Sunday, shove in 9 starters and hit 20 starters instead of the cap, which is supposed to be 12. And it's hilarious.
That's how Adam won 2 championships.
Well, let's be clear here. I won one of them because Zaleski tried it and it bit him in the ass. It went the other way. I had never thought of that before. Then I did it again and I won because of it. And then I beat Gio again the next year because of it. And Gio learned it and he tried it again next year and it still didn't work for him.
Adam tried it against Mark and it worked.
Yes, and he got pissed, and he yelled at me about it.
Adam really is Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. Gio, ultimate piece of advice to win.
So building off of the free agent stuff like you mentioned, one more thing I didn't say before is always pay attention to who is dropping who. Because if somebody's injured for a while and they drop them, you pick them up, you stash them on your IL, and then once they're ready to go, you have a star just waiting.
How many stabs at myself am I allowed to take?
As many as you want.
Set your lineups.
That's actually probably the most honest piece of advice anybody could give. That's not even taking a shot at himself. That's just accurate. I mean, it is taking a shot at himself, but still.
Look, school and work kind of suck, but set your lineups.
Yes. And one other thing I didn't tell you about pre-show. For fantasy draft experts, so Demetrius, you're automatically out on this.
I'm an expansion franchise. What do you want?
What is a key you could give to fantasy baseball experts that they may not know of? Because we are all, I think we could consider ourselves the top 4. We are 4 of the 10 best fantasy baseball players. Demetrius, we're giving you a lot of crap, but you're in my league. You're automatically one of the 10 best players.
I think I won like 1 or 2 games. I think
3. You got 3. You had the Mike Edwards number.
He beat Mike Edwards.
Yeah, the Mike Edwards number when we threw him a birthday party for his 3rd win that one year.
Oh man,
this is hilarious. I will go first again because I really wanted to say this one. When it comes time for it in the draft, use your last 3 to 4 picks. 3 in this case because regular ESPN leagues have 3. I have 5, I think, IL picks. But ESPN has expanded from 1 IL spot to 3. Use your last 3 picks on people who are currently on the IL. Joey Votto's on the IL. Noah Syndergaard's on the IL. Luis Severino's on the IL. There's somebody.
He's going to the IL.
Sorry, what?
Carrasco's looking like
yeah.
Carrasco's going to go to the IL. That's one right there, and he's highly ranked right now. And then there's another one that I'm forgetting. Chris Sale.
Chris
Draft
Sale,
him.
Chris Sale, who, if I'm allowed to say, is the 69th best starting pitcher.
Nice.
Is the what?
Chris Sale is the 69th best starting pitcher.
Nice. So yeah, draft IL players. You can stash them and then add people in free agency. And coupling that together, you then get an extra 3 players on your team, and you get to make the decision later on. And it wouldn't hurt you. You would have somebody to drop and automatically someone to take that place if you think they're having a bad time.
I want to say mediocre best to treat fantasy baseball like Moneyball. On base percentage matters. Doesn't matter if it's a walk or a hit. Nope. Gets on base.
He gets on base and he scores. That's 2 points. Maybe a stolen base in there. That's a 3rd point.
I will say don't stack heavy strikeout lineups. If you notice that your players are striking out a lot, start rotating people in and out because strikeouts will balance it in terms of you not gaining any points.
So Adam said use our last 3 spots for IL. I'm going to kind of flip that and say use your final spots for prospects that are going to be ready at some point at the beginning or middle of the season. I know it's kind of crazy to think that maybe a guy like Franco or Mackenzie Gore could be sitting on your bench for a while, but come June or July when things really start heating up, they're going to be called up. They're fresh arms, and most of the time, those prospects that are highly touted have a really good stretch in the second half of the season that can make or break your season. So you can either trade those people away for an actual proven star or ride the hot hand.
Now, that will do it for our fantasy draft talk. Gentlemen, we will, as always, close with final thoughts. Demetrius, you insisted on going last. I will now insist that you go first.
One final thought that I have is an amazing statistic that I found on one of today's biggest March Madness outcomes. So I'm going to read this off of Instagram real quick.
Why do I think I know where this is going?
On Twitter, Matthew Berry states that a whopping 32,992,289 brackets picked the Buckeyes to beat Oral Roberts.
Yeah, he went there.
That's 95.2% of all brackets. The first upset of the year. That I'm not gonna lie to you. This is what March Madness truly is about. You take a small school, you give them a chance. Mind you, Ohio State had like 4 chances to hit the game-winning shot. Missed in regulation. Missed, I think, 2 of them in overtime. Had the wide-open 3-pointer to tie it. Missed it. Late March is here, baby. It's going to get mad. It's a madhouse.
I'll take my final thoughts here. NCAA, what are you doing? Aside from, this whole women's tournament, their weight room, their facilities are nowhere near what the men's facilities are being treated as. I think we all saw that video that was posted earlier today. A lot of conversations around women's sports. A lot of the pro athletes have come out in droves to support our female athletes, and especially those who are looking to go into, they're on the cusp of something great in the biggest tournament of the year, the biggest time of the year for these college athletes. It's something to be kind of ashamed of if you're the NCAA and these facilities too. And also, last thing, get your calendar right. March Madness runs into April. Come on.
Yeah.
Stupid.
The NBA trade deadline is 6 days from this current recording, March 25th. And one team I'm currently eyeing to see if they make another move, whether it be a buyout, player, or a trade, are the Nets. I want to like James Harden, but when it comes to the playoffs, he's had a history of not being able to shine the big moments. That might change with Kyrie and Kevin Durant on his team. So these next 6 days for this recording, past 6 days, will be interesting. I'm curious which team that's teetering at 500 takes that jump to try and contend and beat a team like the Lakers or the Nets or the Bucks or the Clippers for a chance at championship glory. Oh, I'm not sure if you saw Adam, but Oral Roberts has more wins against Ohio State than Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. I love that stat. That's my favorite stat in the world. I love it. That's my favorite stat about Oral Roberts that I can handle. Go Gonzaga. I mean, they are my pick to win it all. But what could possibly be more 2020-2021 than seeing an undefeated team win the men's tournament? We have not seen that I think since Indiana in the 70s or 80s, whichever one it was. I'm not good on basketball history like that. But we saw UConn do it all the time. UConn women do it all the time. But we haven't seen it in our lifetimes. We've never seen an undefeated men's team win. So I would argue that it is one of the craziest things that could happen, more crazy than a double-digit seed winning, because you're always going to get double-digit seeds. Every year you're going to have a 10 through a 16 seed, 4 of them, no matter what. You are not always going to get an undefeated team. So in the spirit of 2020 and 2021, give us something crazy that's also crazy good, and give us an undefeated men's team in basketball for the first time since Indiana. 1976, Indiana, right? Thank you. 1976, Indiana men.
Yeah, give us something crazy, and then Virginia going from losing to a 16th team to a title. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. That is, yeah.
Everyone talks about UMBC, but the first ever 16-1 happened with the women way back in the 90s when Harvard beat Stanford.
Yes.
Well, that will do it for our shows this week. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again next week. Appreciate it. Have a good week.